Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Sabrina Henley, and this video is going to be a little bit different from the videos previously that I posted on this channel. I have been a serial entrepreneur for almost 20 years, and in that 20 years I've owned several different businesses in several different niches, and I've learned a lot. I've made a lot of mistakes, but what I do know is over a period of time I had to understand there is a growth process, and there are different tools that you can utilize that can equip you to be better in the current field that you're in. So specifically this video is about those people or persons who are either considering being a federal government contractor consultant, and that is a long word. From here on in I'm going to say a government consultant, or you are currently doing it but you've hit a lot of roadblocks. It seems like it's so daunting to get into. I want to share with you just some things that you can consider that may help you through the process. It's helped me, and it's helped my other colleagues that I've shared this information with, and just really sitting down and having conversations with other people. The federal government marketplace is very, very congested. And so if you don't know, and I think utilize certain key and critical steps, you can get lost in the shuffle. So stay tuned for the rest of the video. So let's talk about what a consultant is. By definition, I want you to remember a couple of key words: expert advice from their niche experience or industry understanding, problem solving, to offer valuable advice. So a consultant is a person who provides expert advice to a specific niche or industry that they understand, and they solve a problem to offer valuable advice to a specific client or group. So I'm going to put this across the screen, but this is something that you need to understand your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? So if you're considering this or you're currently doing consulting, it can be a little daunting because, again, like I said, the federal government marketplace is very congested. There's no really how-tos of how to do this. You have to scramble to get a lot of different information, pull it in, and hopefully you're on the right track. And sometimes you can still be off. But I think after a place of being consistent and you do this over a period of time, you will find your groove and you'll be able to develop a system, which is very important to know how you need to approach this, right? So that's the first thing. You need to know what a consultant is, right? So I gave you the definition of a consultant. The second thing is to understand you're not working directly for the federal government. So when I'm talking about a federal government contractor consultant, which I said I'm just going to refer to a government consultant, you are working independently for yourself. You are finding business owners or other individuals who have product and services that they can provide that the federal government wants to buy. So you're not hired by the federal government. You are helping those persons find solicitations or bids for a product that the federal or service that the federal government wants to purchase or to buy, and then you help them. You are the middle person that bring the federal government and that person to that particular bid. Sounds a little confusing, but it's a lot more simple than that, but it's easy to understand. So you're the go-between. Many business owners don't really have the time to really look for solicitations or bids, and so you are that person who you're constantly looking for the solicitations that really are zero in for your target audience to provide them that particular information. So you're offering an expert's advice, valuable advice, and you're solving a problem. The business owner wants to make money. They want to provide their service to the federal government so they can make an income. The federal government needs what the business owner has, the service or the product, and then in turn the federal government pays that business owner for that product or service. Now where you come in the mix is you are going to take a percentage of whatever you and that business owner works out of that particular proposal or that confirmed bid. So I'm not going to get into the how do you get paid part, but I want to get into the part of the mindset part of it. This is the thing. Anytime that you run a business, like I said, I've been an entrepreneur for the last 20 years. I've had a lot of failures, a lot of mistakes, but I've had a lot of success. And one of the ways that I've learned to really gain traction in any business that I have created or started, and no matter what the niche was, and that my niches have changed over the years. I never thought at one particular time that I would have a separate business for government consulting. And so it's changed over time, but there are some things that has to stay consistent. I had to understand my why. And you know, when my foundation is God. So when God calls me to do something, he equips me, right? So anytime you're called to do something new, you have to understand your foundation and why you're being called to a specific area, to an arena. But you have to go back to the source. So if God called me to the arena of as a government consultant, then he's going to give me or provide to me the resources or the tools and the people that I need in order to learn about this particular new area, this new niche. Okay, so you have to understand your why. Why are you doing this? You have something, if you're a consultant, you have something very valuable that companies need, and also the federal government needs from you as well. So this is a $1 billion industry every year, and multi-billion dollars. I think it's like $600 billion that the federal government spends every year. So that's a lot of money, and you're needed. So you have to have the confidence and know that you have something of value to provide to either the federal government and to a independent company. The second thing is, I believe that you always need to know your numbers. And what I mean by knowing your numbers, and I'm going to put a sheet that I use, especially if I'm kind of cold calling and meeting a company for the first time. If you know anything about the market research side of it, which is very important, and that's one tool that you're going to have to learn because you can't get around it. I think a lot of people are sitting around waiting for people to send them crumbs, and they want the crumbs that's going to drop from the master table instead of actually being able to go fish and hunt for the food yourself. That's going to put you at a disadvantage if you're always waiting around for someone to give you something. That is for you as a consultant and for business owners, because it's too much information out here for you to wait around on somebody else. It's going to limit your income, and it's going to put you at a disadvantage. You're only going to be getting what somebody's going to pass down to you. I think, unfortunately, even most business owners, sometimes we can get to a place that we can get complacent. You make $1 million this year, well, you don't, or in 6 months, and you don't even worry about working harder to earn more. So I think it's to know exactly why you're doing it, and then to understand and reverse engineer it. If I know that my goal or my income, I want my income to be a certain amount, then I'm going to reverse engineer and understand that number one, I have to do the market research, and I can't waste my time by calling people that I know for a fact that's not going to be suitable for me to help, right? So when I'm going to put this form on the screen, but this form helps me kind of weed out and write out everything that I know about a company when I do the research. So I know, you know, the DUNS number, I know the primary point of contact, I know the NAICS codes, I know whether or not what certifications they have, when they're going to expire. But one thing you have to understand when you're working with a company who is registered in the SAMS.gov profile, some of these people registered their company 8-9 years ago and never have updated. So some of the certifications have expired. A lot of times these people, when they first set up their profile, they may have 23 NAICS codes, but they have no idea what they are doing under each NAICS code, right? So it's very important for you to take the time to understand when you're looking at somebody's profile or you're considering working with a company, is this information right? So when you call this person, you can say, hey, your certification for HubZone says that it expired 2 years ago, or your 8A certification says that it expired, you know, a year ago, or it's getting ready to expire. Sometimes they don't even know that information, and they don't even know the NAICS codes that they have listed for specific products and services. They don't even know what they are. So you have to know. You have to be the expert in this situation. And a lot of times this is one way that you can gain clients, because you know more information than they do. I talked about your why and doing your research, but the other thing is I'm a numbers girl, so I like to work with numbers. So every month, and I total out for a quarter, I set a goal I set a goal for income. I set a goal for how many people I want to reach out to. And so this is how aggressive you need to be. So your goal may say for instance, you want to actually, for yourself, you want to actually net for yourself $1 million this quarter. That may be a stretch goal for some people. That may not be a stretch goal for some people. But say if that's your stretch goal, then you need to reverse engineer how many people you need to contact, and until you determine what's your close rate, meaning until you get a system set in place to say, I know if I contact 50 people this week, usually I can bring 5 people on as a client, and based upon the research that I've done and I know the solicitations that's available, it's pretty much going to yield me X, Y, and Z, right? You can't be definitive, but you need to have some idea of what you're working towards, because a lot of times you're shooting in the dark. I think for some people, they're not aggressive enough. And then for some people, you don't know your number, so you're just shooting in the dark. And you're at the mercy of what somebody else is going to tell you. And you never want to be, you want to have the advantage. But you also want to be able to provide someone with something that they know that's valuable. I think also what I've noticed is the companies are not very familiar with consultants. Consultants typically are people who are calling from a lot of telemarketing. So once you register your business with Sam, and they see your information, they can go in just like I can and get your telephone number, and they can start calling you. And a lot of this is a sham because they want you to, they're asking you to spend money to get X, Y, and Z. So you have to navigate through that process. I think a lot of people are very ignorant of the process of independent government consultants, and they don't understand the real value of consultants. This is why I want to make this video. If you are a business owner who is looking to do business with the federal government, an independent government consultant, the right one, can be a true advantage for you in your business, can be a lifeline for you in your business. You know, imagine you went from maybe getting 1 or 2 contracts a year for someone that's actually researching and finding these contracts on your business behalf, and that is constantly feeding them to you. So what do you have to lose? You have everything to gain as the business owner, right? And as a consultant, you know, it's a win-win for you as well, because what you want to do is, for me, I want to have this pool of people that I can work with and that I can choose from, that I can call the OSTBU, and I can call the contract specialist and say, hey, I have a team of people, and they can say, well, do you have someone that can do this job? And yes, I already have a team of people in different companies in different areas of specialty areas that they can work in, that I know that I can send for. They're going to do the job, they're going to do the job on time, and we're not going to have any problems. So that is going to be a big advantage for you as a consultant. But as the business owner, I think the business owner's minds have to be open up to the opportunity of having a government consultant. So the business owner has to be open-minded to understand what's the benefit of a government consultant. And I think this is why this needs to be talked about more, because a lot of these business owners are very ignorant. Many of them are going on public bid sites, and I had a lady tell me this the other day. I had did my research, and I knew that she's only received 2 since 2000, since registering with Sam, which has been like 5 or 6 years ago. She has only received 2 contracts, and they may have totaled up to both being $5,000. But she says that she doesn't, her company does not hire a consultant, but she goes on these open bid sites, and that's how she finds her jobs. So having to understand, I tried to explain to her what the value of, you always lead with value. So I tried to explain to her the value of having a consultant. And I really let her know that I understood your business, and you've only received 2 contracts, and they each totaled together, it wasn't $5,000. But you're working hard to stay on bid sites, hoping that you get a bid, but you have someone that can, I had in my hand, based upon her NAICS code, 3 solicitations that actually fit for her company. So you can see the value of having somebody like that on your team. But everybody doesn't get it. So what do you do if you're in this situation? Number one, if you're struggling to get started up as a consultant for the federal government arena, or you're looking into doing it, I say stop and sit down and educate yourself and do research. Anytime you start something new, you're going to have to figure out the nuances. You're going to have to figure out the nomenclature, the terminology that's used. You're gonna have to figure out where do you start and where do you go from there. You can get different information from so many different people, but you got to find a system that works for you. It does take time. You just can't hit and miss at it. It does take time. The market research is what takes the most time. But after you do it over a period of time, you can get a lot faster with it. It's not that, it's hard, but it's not as difficult as it would be as you just starting out. So I want to encourage you just to stay consistent, know your why, track your numbers, do your market research, and make sure that you know your value and your worth so you don't waste time with people, business owners, that's going to waste your time. Okay, so if you're doing this as a business, every entrepreneur, yes, we want to serve humanity and bring humanity forward, but we also, as an entrepreneur, we want to actually make an income. So you can't mix the mission with the mission and the ministry with the business side of it. Sometimes you got to look at both pieces of it. So your mission and ministry side of it, or the way that you're serving humanity, is that you're providing a good quality service. You're doing things with ethical and with integrity, and you are providing the best service that you possibly can, giving them the most updated information as you can. But as an entrepreneur, they can't expect you to work for free, right? So you have to feed your family, you have to live, and all those types of things, and no one can hold that against you. So that's the entrepreneur side of it. So just make sure that you have an understanding of what you're doing and why you're doing it, and understand what your mission and core and what's your end goal. You know, sometimes that's a motivator for many of us to know what our end goal is, right? So I just want to encourage you to stay focused. I'm going to do more videos like this about the consulting side, because it's not much information, definitely not on YouTube, and it's not much information about being a consultant per se anywhere pretty much with the federal government that I found. It's very few videos that I've seen specifically directed towards a consultant. Most of it is someone who wants to do business with the federal government per se, and it's the same, but it's different. So make sure that you download. I'm going to post the sheet that I use as the intake form when I'm doing my market research. I'm going to post it in a link below. Make sure you download that link or download that form, and you can have that. And as your business grow and change, that's just a generic one, but as your business grows and change, I use it. But as time has progressed, I've had to change my strategy. And so, but it could be a starting point and give you some ideas on where you should start, what information you should be gathering when you are doing your market research, so you can start there. So I hope this information was helpful. I look forward to chatting with you in another video, and I will talk to you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.